Hello, my beautiful Sagittarius family, my heart, my soul, my friends, my inspiration. I love you guys so, so, so much. You know how much I love the Sagittarius family. This energy just, every time I come back home to it, oh, it feels so, so good. And this is such an interesting time. We are getting so close to the end of the South Node in Sagittarius. I feel like I've been talking about it for like 2 or 3 months already. But here's the thing. We're starting to have eclipses. We're going to have our first eclipse in Taurus this month. Full moon partial lunar eclipse in Taurus on the 19th. And this heralds the beginning of that nodal shift. And while it's not officially happening until January, there is something different happening here this month. There is a different energy getting introduced into the mix that we will be working with for all of 2022 and well into 2023. And so November brings about a very different flavor, and specifically for, I think, Sagittarius, this is the beginning of something else starting to happen. It's a very different tone and feel than it has been since May 2020. So happy Sagittarius season, first of all. Like, we're going to have that eclipse in Taurus, and then shortly after, the sun's going to join you guys. But before we get to Sagittarius season, we're obviously in Scorpio season. We got Mars and Mercury hanging out there. We've got the new moon in Scorpio and the sun in Scorpio. And this is all 12th house spiritual energy. So the other part of November is going to be some calibration. It's going to be taking some time to get really deep and reconnect to that bigness, that vastness, and bring more of that energy back into the physical. So it's not that you have to sit still all of November, but make sure you're getting rest and sleep and taking those times to reconnect with that ineffable hidden world, because it's really going to have big payoffs for you in the course of November. And the other thing I want to say here, with this shifting, there's a shifting energy going on starting in November, and we're going to keep working with this as we move into December and into the new year. Who are you going to be when you step into the light, when the pressure gets kind of taken off the Sagittarius energy? And it's welcome to be back open all the way. Who do you want to be within that? How do you want to use your energy? This is a really wonderful time to acknowledge where your identity has shifted, where your expectations of who you think you need to be have shifted, and to get excited about that, right? Like, maybe you don't recognize yourself as the same Sag that walked in the door in early 2020. And part of you might be sad about that, feel like you lost a part of yourself. But on the other hand, there are whole other aspects of how you can share your energy and your beauty in the world that are just getting started. And what I want you to do this month, Four of Cups, our good friend, Four of Cups, is get curious, keep your eyes and your heart open to what is trying to be birthed through you. What parts of you are wanting to now, they're ready to be seen by others, to be shared, to be explored, to create with, right? Keep your mind wide open. Three of Swords. These are popular cards this month, and I will tell you why in a moment. It's not because things are going to be particularly dramatic. Temperance, hi. Our good friend, the Sag card, showing up. And the World wanted to come out too. Did not want to go back in the deck. Okay, cool. So it's important to keep our hearts and our minds open to who we are becoming and let ourselves be surprised by ourselves. I know you all are open-minded, playful, creative people who are totally willing to shift frequencies, shift channels, and see what's going on. However, sometimes we don't realize where we aren't letting ourselves just see what could happen. What if, right? So we want to flex that muscle a little bit this month. We want to flex that curiosity a little bit this month and spend more time in the curious state than in the wary state. And it's interesting to me because I do feel like a lot of Sages have gotten a little wary, a little tired, and a little, just like kind of not feeling a little bit out of sorts with themselves. Not everybody. It's a big generalization, I know. And one of the ways that we can kind of come back to feeling alive and curious and letting our energy flow, is just practicing the curious muscle. And we can practice it on all sorts of things that we just take for granted. Just, where things are sitting on the counter. We could get curious about that and be like, do I want those things to be sitting somewhere else? Does everything on that counter have to be used for the same purpose every time? Maybe I could use this flower canister for this other art project. Maybe this item on the counter can become something else, right? Like we can practice it in so many places. So that's where I would say you can have so much impact on the way you're connecting with who you're becoming by just practicing the curiosity in a mundane part of your life. Let's talk about these cards though, because there's something interesting going on here. And what I will say is Scorpio season this year is for everyone, pretty much everyone. It's important we're doing some healing and we're incorporating what we have just learned. I was just saying this to Gemini too, because having the nodes in your signs, whether north or south, is kind of this interesting, strange ride for a year and a half. And it's important to take stock of everything you've just learned about yourself. And also process, incorporate it, and let it go because you're being asked to step out of that very soon. So this Scorpio season is really important in taking stock of where we've been, giving ourselves some encouragement, and also healing any parts of ourselves that have gotten worn out, ragged, or stressed during this time. And that's really what I see here with the Four of Cups and the Three of Swords. And like I said, this is just a common theme that's coming up. And for me, this isn't about some kind of external drama happening in the world. This is about the healing that we as just beings here in physical bodies really need to take the time to do. So Four of Cups to me, fours are very important in tarot because these are times of incorporation in the midst of a journey. So you've just created and learned a whole bunch of stuff and you have to take a moment to rest and incorporate before you continue on. Now, of course, a lot of times this card is interpreted as somebody who is ungrateful or frustrated and just wants the thing to happen. But what I also see here, it's that curiosity mindset, right? We are, first of all, incorporating these three past cups. And we're also practicing getting our mind open to what is coming next. And we need a little bit of time to be able to be fully receptive to the Four of Cups. And being fully receptive to that fourth cup flowing in means that we have taken the time to heal the parts of ourselves that are feeling cynical, tired, worried, guarding ourselves, that we're listening to those parts of ourselves and incorporating them. And that's where Three of Swords comes in here as well. For me, Three of Swords is kind of like, it's the perfect representation of the old, like some very strong, deep circuits in our mind, right? That have been reinforced for a long time. They can go back to core beliefs. They can go back to childhood. They can go back to like a very defining moment in our teens or our 20s, or a time when somebody said something or did something or a situation came up that created kind of the circuit of how we protect ourselves. So the Three of Swords brings us back to those places. And whenever this card shows up, what I see is like, this is a time to make sure we are with those parts of ourselves that feel unworthy, scared, unlovable, like they have to keep repeating those old cycles. And even a sign as expansive and playful and mutable and curious as Sagittarius also needs that, right? And it's so important to take care of those parts of ourselves. So you're being asked here during this Scorpio season to just make sure you're checking in with those parts of yourself. You're relaxing into them. You're giving them healing. You're giving them comfort. You're giving them love so that you are fully open. Because here's the thing, my friends. That was only one half of the reading, wasn't it? Temperance in the world. We're just going to jump right in to these big expansive energies, right? Like these energies are about welcoming the world again, right? Literally the world. Like coming back to that mindset possibility. And it's really interesting to me because while these cards are so expansive, playful, vibrant, alive, curious, alchemizing, graduation, exploration, all these fun keywords that I just love, they're also very wise. Temperance card I really love, and I think sometimes it gets underplayed a little bit with Sag energy, but Temperance card, one, this is kind of the angel of alchemy sitting here, right? At the river of life, in a beautiful sunrise morning, putting these materials together, creating something out of something else. And temperance, is about tempering things, finding the perfect temperature for ourselves. So with Sag energy, or with a lot of fire energy, right? Like having plenty of fire, but also not so much that it burns us, right? And on the other hand, to stoke our fire enough to get it alive again. And so temperance is speaking to finding that sweet spot again, feeling alive, feeling that dreamy, floaty, playful, curious, expansive, fun-hearted, light-hearted energy of Sagittarius. And also making sure that within that, there are those spaces to take care of our soul, rest, acknowledge, and incorporate things from the spiritual and the hidden realm. So we're getting work on both sides of this. And I think the thing is, it's really awesome when we can do both, right? And then we also have the World, which is a new chapter. This is the final card of the major arcana. It is a closeout of a cycle. And like I was telling you, with this first full moon partial lunar eclipse in Taurus, we are heralding kind of a closing couple of months. There's a closing ceremony going on for whatever we have been learning with South Node Sagittarius, which has affected everyone, obviously. Obviously, it's been a little more personal for Sagittarius, but there is this sense that it's time. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this. It is time to make peace with ourselves, incorporate what we have learned, wash our hearts with physical processing, right? With tears, with emotion, with laughter, letting ourselves feel and process all of that, shaking it out of our physical bodies, incorporating the wisdom, incorporating the lessons, incorporating the knowledge. And then it's also time to come back to life, to come back to that curious, joyful place. There's a very strong message in general about that. Your healing and your connection to spirit is important. Your connection to curiosity is important. And these things deserve your attention and acknowledgement. And there are things waiting to be opened. There are new aspects and versions of yourself waiting for attention and energy to pour through. So let yourself open to them, which generally means to relax into it rather than to gird yourself for it, right? It's about relaxing into life, relaxing into the movement rather than forcing the movement, right? I have some affirmations to share with you to close out our reading today, which has been so powerful. And here they are. I allow myself to transform and relax. I welcome guidance from the hidden world. I trust myself to become my truest self yet. I take the time to rest and dream so that I can hear my soul speak. I hear my soul song and I follow its call. I keep getting goosebumps with this one. I feel like I'm so excited and curious to see what comes of Sag energy in the coming year ahead. It is going to be such a cool, interesting time, I think. So different from what we've been working on the last couple of years. Significantly different as we enter into 2022. There's going to be so much shifting. Jupiter is going to be moving out of Aquarius, which would be really interesting. The north node of the moon is moving out of Gemini. There's just going to be such a different feel in the air, and I'm really curious to see where it all goes. Speaking of which, I'm going to be leading us through all of that over on my Patreon. So if you're looking for some guidance, some community, a cozy space, it's a fantastic way for me to support you. But it's also a really awesome way for you to support me so that I can keep showing up and doing this work. It's how I can keep showing up and doing this work. So it's really important. But also I just love being able to offer that support in a cozy, safe environment on the internet. So if you're looking for extra inspiration, I'd love to see you there. You can also find me on my website and on my Instagram at Sarah Vrba. So I'll leave all the links so you know exactly where to find me below. And I love you all so much. Have a gorgeous November. I'm so excited to enter into Sag season. You know how I feel about this energy, and keep it rolling in December. So I'll see you there very soon, my friends.